Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Education is usually talked about in terms of sweeping policies or standardized test scores. But today, we're zooming way in. We're going to explore a primary school teacher's meticulously crafted daily routine, drawing directly from our source material to see how personal discipline, structured environments, and joyful methods all combine to create a seriously impactful learning experience. Let's dive right in.
Here is our daily blueprint for today. We'll be looking at morning preparation and discipline, school arrival and environment, joyful teaching methods, evaluation and homework, and finally, a beautiful conclusion and farewell. We're basically going to track this professional's day from the very first moments of soft morning light all the way to her afternoon departure.
All right, kicking things off with part 1, morning preparation and discipline.
You might think a teacher's effectiveness starts when the school bell rings, right? Actually, scratch that. It starts way earlier in the quiet of their own home. In step 1 of her routine, she wakes up to soft sunlight with a calm, peaceful expression. Step 2 is absolutely crucial. She engages in sincere, respectful prayer in a clean, quiet space. It's not just a physical waking up, it's a mental and spiritual grounding. By starting the day with intentionality, she's proactively building a calm mindset that's going to shield her against the inevitable chaos of a lively classroom. Steps 3 and 4 are all about practical care, cooking and packing her materials so she's setting herself up for total success.
And this illustrates the care she takes not just for her students, but for herself. Our source describes this beautiful, sensory morning scene in the kitchen. She prepares a neat breakfast, roti or paratha, an egg, some fresh vegetables, and a steaming cup of milk tea. You can almost see the steam rising from the cup in that warm morning light. I want you to just take a second and reflect on your own mornings. Do they start with this level of calm, structured self-care? Because this exact foundation of peace is what she eventually brings into the school building.
Moving right along to part 2, school arrival and environment.
So she arrives at this gorgeous, green, cheerful school campus, but the real magic happens the second she steps into her classroom. A bright, clean, and organized space sets the stage for learning before a single student even walks through the door. She doesn't just wander in and wait for the kids, she actively curates the physical space. She arranges the desks, wipes the board down, and makes sure that all the educational charts, vocabulary cards, and alphabet displays on the walls are perfectly visible and welcoming. It's like setting the dinner table before guests arrive.
What's truly fascinating is the sheer amount of preparation that goes onto her own desk. After she signs the attendance book in the staff room, she sits down and literally lays out her arsenal for the day. Her lesson plan, exercise books, flashcards, picture cards, and word cards, they are all organized with absolute precision. She's arming herself with colorful, engaging teaching aids. Her expression is described as responsible and confident. She is totally 100% ready.
Okay, so the room's set, the materials are prepped, but let me throw a quick question your way. A little mental speed bump. How exactly does a standard, everyday lesson actually become truly engaging for young minds? We've all sat through boring classes. What's the active ingredient that changes a passive room into a dynamic learning environment?
Well, that brings us nicely to part 3, joyful teaching methods.
The answer lies in how that quiet preparation from the morning bursts into vibrant, energetic action. The chronological structure of her English class is purposefully designed to capture and, more importantly, hold young attention spans. She doesn't just start lecturing. First, she opens with a rhythmic rhyme or song. The kids are clapping, they're instantly hooked. Only then, in the second step, does she move to the board work. Then comes reading practice, assigning homework, and finally, closing the whole thing out with a goodbye song. It's a perfectly engineered emotional and educational arc. Right in the middle of that arc is her whiteboard work, which she uses to really ground her students. On the left, she writes basic class info, like the date and her name. In the middle, the attendance count, which gently teaches the kids accountability. On the right, the core lesson title and key vocabulary are written large and clear. This brilliant visual structure provides an anchor. The students know exactly where they are, who is with them, and what the mission is for today.
The absolute crucial point here is the contrast between standard teaching and active engagement. Standard teaching often relies on passive listening. The teacher talks, the students just sit there. But she flips that entirely. She uses rhythmic songs to build energy. She holds up colorful picture cards, and immediately, eager hands shoot up in the air. She makes the English language accessible, tactile, and incredibly fun. She's not just broadcasting information, she's inviting enthusiastic participation.
Next up, part 4, evaluation and homework. So after the energy of the lesson peaks, the class naturally has to transition.
Learning is a blast, but it also has to be assessed. So how does she evaluate them without killing that joyful vibe? First, she listens attentively as students practice reading out loud. Second, when they make mistakes, because of course they will, she corrects them gently, always with a smile. Third, she supervises their writing exercises by actually walking around the room, looking over their shoulders. And finally, she provides continuous positive feedback. It's this highly supportive loop that builds confidence instead of tearing it down with harsh critiques.
As the academic portion winds down, she writes the homework up. But again, it's all about the delivery. The instructions are clear and simple, and when the students have eager questions, she doesn't just rush them out the door. She stands there, patiently and calmly answering them, making sure every single child understands their independent work. It brings the energy of the room back down to a focused, calm baseline. And that leads us into our final stretch, Part 5, beautiful conclusion and farewell.
This is where we kind of slow things down, mimicking the natural rhythm of her day. The closing routine is just as structured as the morning one. Step 1. The class ends with a joyful goodbye song, leaving the kids with a wholesome, lasting impression. Step 2. She methodically packs her materials back up. Step 3. Right before she leaves, she stands at the door and gives her students one final, affectionate smile, and they wave back. Step 4. She finally walks out into the corridor.
The source text paints this incredibly vivid, almost cinematic picture of her leaving. Just imagine the golden afternoon light spilling across a peaceful school corridor. As she walks away, books in hand, the lingering, joyful voices of her students are still echoing from the classroom behind her. She smiles, and you can see a look of deep professional and personal satisfaction. It's just a breathtaking, emotional end to a highly structured, demanding day.
I want to leave you with this final thought. Education isn't just about transferring facts from a textbook to a whiteboard. It is fundamentally about the energy, the discipline, and the intentionality a teacher brings into the room. From the quiet morning prayers to the perfectly organized flashcards, to the gentle correction of a student's reading, it's all interconnected. So reflect on this. How might applying this level of daily structure and joyful empathy transform your own environment, whether you're in a classroom, an office, or just at home? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer today. Stay curious, stay focused, and we'll catch you next time.